kind of went through the process, she would bounce things off me occasionally from time to time, and I'd put a little input into it here and there, but the bulk of it was Dee's imagination.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're heading into Chicago's glittering Gold Coast for the Wooden Alley murder. It is written by a terrific author. Her name is Ceci Farinelli. She has penned a sharp, witty, amateur sleuth mystery packed with money, secrets, and danger. Ceci and her husband Avery are living a charmed life until a brutal killing in a historic wooden alley kicks off a case that spirals from elite circles to international intrigue. If you love page-turning suspense, dark family secrets, and a fearless lead who won't quit, you're in the right place. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team for helping us put her in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Dee, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Logan.
It's an honor and a privilege to have you on the show. Let's talk about the first spark that made you write The Wooden Alley Murder.
Well, I always tell this story, but it is actually true, but in a funny way. My husband and I, it was during COVID. And first of all, I've been writing for many years, but this was one of the first times I decided to publish something. But there's a wooden alley, an actual wooden alley that goes between State Parkway and Astor Street in Chicago. It's a historic alley. I think it's the only one left in the country.
Oh.
And it's right behind the Cardinal's mansion, which is also very, very, very old, and it's surrounded by mansions. So on an October day, end of day, you can imagine it's kind of for lack of a better word, it's kind of a spooky place when you're walking through, not in the where you feel danger, but in the where you almost feel like there's haunting there,
Yeah.
And that particular day, Dave and I think we were bickering about something as we were walking through the alley with our dog. And I thought to myself, this is a perfect spot for a murder because he was getting on my nerves.
That's funny.
No, but all kidding aside, it really is. It's a gorgeous spot in the city. I tell anyone who comes to Chicago to go into that area, to go into the Gold Coast, because the mansions, there are places you could never duplicate today, but everything about it lends itself to something very bespoke. It just does. So it really conjured up this idea to me of a mystery.
Wonderful. So that wooden alley captured your imagination, and this is the story that you created. Is Ceci and Avery a little bit like you and David?
Well, I've been asked that before, but they are in the sense that, they're this middle-aged couple and they're kind of nosy. And so in that sense, they kind of are. They do have a dog named Tosca. I have a dog named Tosca. But other than that, really, there's not a lot of similarities. There are some similarities in that Dave and I have been together since we're 16 years old. So there's a lot of that. We've lived in Chicago and the suburbs of Chicago all our lives. So there's some truth in that. But no, have we witnessed a murder or are we amateur sleuths? No. I'd like to think of myself as one, though.
Exactly. Avery is an interesting counterpart to Ceci. He's a former best-selling historian who's suffering from writer's block. Talk to us about why that was the perfect partner dynamic for this mystery-solving couple.
Well, because I wanted to start the book, and as you know from the beginning of the book, I started with a very salacious kind of opening, but I wanted to do a setup where we go from something that's really just kind of horrible and bad and scary and disgusting, and we move on to this kind of Miss Marpley kind of character, if you will. And the reason Avery came to my mind as a perfect counterpart is because you couldn't have two people in a marriage, one who's extremely outgoing and the other one who's the same. You'd have to have that balance where one is where one is a little bit more conservative than the other, which also happens to be a similarity between Dave and I. But so Avery, I wanted to start the book because this is hopefully going to be a series of books. I wanted to start the book where not only is Avery suffering, but because Avery is suffering from writer's block, their marriage is suffering. And I wanted to take it from how, they're at a low point in their life and how they start to blossom, so that as the story continues, we start to develop this friendship or love for those characters. And we want to see them do more together. So that's kind of where Avery came from. I needed a straight man in the story.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
I needed someone, yeah.
Give the folks at home an overview of the story. No spoilers, but just a little bit of an overview so they get an idea for what it's about.
So let's see, no spoilers. So obviously we all discovered that it takes place in Chicago and moves to Italy and moves to a small town in Spain, back to Chicago. It eventually will center around the characters of Avery and Ceci Felcetti, a long time love affair that they've had with each other since they're children. They become unwitting amateur sleuths, which will then be able to carry you on to other books. They are maybe a modern day Nick and Nora, if you will. They're an elegant couple. They're fun. They're lovely people, the characters. They're kind, they're well liked. People who don't like them, they really don't care. They're kind of an independent couple. They're childless. I'm sorry. They're also
no worries. It happens to the best of us.
But they are this couple. They have a dog, and their life kind of just centers around each other. And the life that they enjoy together. And because Avery, as we've established, does have this writer's block, their personal life together starts to suffer. And we watch through the story, not only them solving this mystery, but we watch them evolving and coming closer together than they have been in many, many years. And so it's really an evolution of a lot of things.
Exactly. It's a lot about the characters as much as, I bet what?
Yeah, I won't spoil it, but at the end of the first book, we leave with a situation that will lead itself to the second part.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, have you envisioned these books, and I'm saying these books because it will be part of a series, as a series of films or a TV series?
Well, there's the big question, okay? Because yes, I do, and I did from the beginning, but I'm not a screenwriter, so I didn't pose it in that frame, right? But that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for either a limited series or a movie or a Netflix type of thing or HBO, anything like that. But the issue is, and this is a big issue, if anyone's listening out there and they're a literary agent, I have sent a million things to a million literary agents, and you just can simply not get arrested, because what a literary agent wants, and I somewhat understand it, they want someone established, but in order to be established, you must have an agent.
It's a conundrum.
Exactly. So I can't bring it to a Netflix or anything like that unless I have representation.
Yeah. It is a tough thing, and but you never know who will pick up your book and read it on the plane, and that might be somebody who's in the film industry or something. And you've done the hard part, you've created the work, but you're right, unsolicited manuscripts, they often aren't even accepted. So it is a tough thing. But you've got the book written, you got the book out there. It's wonderful. I think it'll get recognition. I think it'll spread through word of mouth. So you never know what'll happen. Somebody said to me a long time ago that it's like a message in a bottle. You put the work out there and you never know when that phone's going to ring. So you put the work out there and hopefully the phone rings, and from your lips to Hollywood's ear. But it definitely, same thing with actors. You can't get a role in a film or a TV show unless you have an agent, and you can't get an agent unless you have a role in a TV show or a movie. So it's tough. Every now and then somebody cuts you a slack and cuts you a break, and hopefully that happens to you. Let's get the real life counterpart to this dynamic duo, Dee and David. Let's have David join us.
Sure. I'm going to come over. Tosca's going to be joining us as well.
Oh, that's fine. Tosca's in your arms. Very
David
cute. Is that a Cairn Terrier?
She's part Yorkie, part Pomeranian.
Oh, well, she's pretty. She's pretty.
And
Hey, David, welcome to Spotlight.
Hi, thank you for having us. Much appreciated.
It's my pleasure. Tell us a little bit about your role in this. I imagine you were her first reader. She bounced ideas off of you. Talk to me a little bit about your role in all of this.
Exactly. I mean, she had, as she mentioned, she has talked about, publishing something for quite a while. She's very artistic in many other ways other than just writing the book.
Yeah.
And we kind of went through the process. She would bounce things off me occasionally from time to time, and I'd put a little input into it here and there, but the bulk of it was Dee's imagination, and she put a lot of hard work into it, really took her time with it, and I think did a great job developing the characters.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of the book, David?
Well, I think probably how they evolve.
Yeah.
As Denise or Dee had mentioned, they kind of start out in a rough place, and as it goes throughout the book, they kind of evolve into back to a good place with each other. So I think having that personal feeling, I think that's the most interesting part to me, as well as some of the other characters there in the book that are that really stand out, and you'd have to read the book, and once you get into it, you'll see kind of what I'm talking about. There's one in particular that's a big part of the book, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, there's lots of great twists and turns in the book, particularly the ending. There's a twist with a drink, and it's kind of a cliffhanger, a jaw dropper, if you will. Talk to me about crafting that, if you would, Dee.
Crafting the very end.
Writing the ending. You must have been, that's very inspired, and it's very thrilling. You must have been very excited when that happened. David, you can stay there. Stay on camera with us.
Do you want him to stay on? Okay. The very end, I wrote specifically because and because you read it, you'll understand how the person expired, correct?
Right.
But so without me saying it, the way they die is what the focus of the second book is going to be.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you're setting up the second book.
Around it. And I will tell a little cliffhanger. The second book is going to take us from Chicago to Egypt.
Okay, great. Well, it's great that you also bring readers along these great locales, parts of Europe, parts of the Middle East. And I think that's part of the fun, part of the excitement of a good read.
And I just wanted to expound on what Dave was saying, and that was that one of the characters, and that's Leone. He's not a character that could reoccur because he's a guest speaker, so to speak.
Right.
But he is extremely interesting. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
And charismatic. I love him because, and this won't spoil it, but when we're dealing with the mafia, we're thinking, well, everyone's bad and everyone's horrible, and I don't suggest that they are or are not.
Right.
But character becomes one of these guys like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. You don't want to like him, right? But you do. Yep. There's something charming about him, or charismatic, which I know it sounds very weird, but I think you know what I mean by that.
Right, right. I think that's what makes an interesting character, that there is a duality about them, that they're not just
Yes.
black and white. The bad guys are just bad and the good guys are just good. Everybody's got two sides, and I think that's what makes fiction feel real, and that's what brings the characters to life. Well, congratulations to both of you. I know it's a team effort, even though it's Dee's book. David's right there by her side, and behind every great
Always.
author is a great partner. And a great dog too. That's an adorable dog you got there. So I had to give a shout out to your dog. The name of the book is The Wooden Alley Murder, and it is a stylish, twist-packed mystery that takes you from Chicago's elite secrets to an international truth you won't see coming. David and Dee, thank you both so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much, Logan. We appreciate everything you've done for us, and we appreciate so much you having me on the show.
I appreciate your time, your insight, and the wonderful talent that you've invested in this book. We look forward to talking to you about your forthcoming books as well. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.